Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Speaking Into the Abyss. My name is Jess, and that is...
Des.
Hello, Des.
Hello, Jess.
How are you doing?
In the, I guess, pattern of honesty we have here on the pod,
Yes.
I haven't been doing the best, but I'm still pushing through.
Okay.
You know, I'm here.
Yes, yeah.
But how have you been?
I've been good. Tired. Good.
Yeah.
Doing a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yes.
What's your week been looking like?
Work. Appointments during the week.
Mhm.
And then, work stuff after work, like every day. Okay, on Friday, after work, I picked up Jenny and we went to go watch The Companion.
Oh, how was it?
It was good. It was good.
Nice.
4.5. Because you were right, the trailer does give, like, you know,
A lot away.
I
mean, about this, I guess, plot.
The plot, yeah. But then when you watch it, I feel like it's such a minuscule part of the whole story. There's a lot of extra moving parts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty interesting. So, yeah, it was good.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I don't want to... I know you're going to go watch it, so I don't want to give away too much.
For
but
sure.
We'll definitely have more notes after we...
converge back.
Yes,
after
yeah.
I watched it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
well, that's good. I like that actress.
I've
know
never
her
seen
name.
her before.
She's in The Menu, which is
I
a
haven't
really
seen it
famous
yet.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or popular.
Yeah, it's on my
one, I
watch
should say.
list.
But I notoriously, I've talked about it on the podcast. I didn't like the ending, but a lot of people did like the ending. So I'm one of those like
okay,
in the minorities.
I'll put that one. I'll move it up on my watch list so then we can
talk
about both. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was one of our friends' birthday. So me and Jenny stopped by and we picked up like a little cake from Save Mart, and then went and we picked up some canes and then set up the cake and then did a little happy birthday, ate some canes, and started the P. Diddy documentary on HBO.
How's that?
It's good so far. It's a lot of information.
Sure.
And I was just kind of like, at the end of the day, so it's kind of like groggy. Like,
yeah.
But speaking of HBO, I was listening to a podcast and she was talking about how her dad was like telling her like, oh yeah, have you seen this show? It's on the Home Box Office app, and then or the Home Box Office channel subscription that
That's
you can
what
do.
that means.
And like, so she's like, what? I don't have that. I don't know what that is. And then he starts listing off all the shows and she's like, HBO. And he's like, yeah, Home Box Office. That's what that means. And I was like, oh, because that used to be a channel, the Home Box Office channel.
I've never heard of that channel.
Yeah. So I don't, it's
That's
an older thing. Yeah.
Well, I guess, but it's like I know other channel names, you know, like BET, we all know what that stands for. TLC, we all know what that stands for. I've never heard that that's what HBO stands for. It's just like really crazy.
Yeah, so I pulled it up on Google really quick and it says HBO, like when you search Home Box Office, HBO pops up. It says overview, Home Box Office is an American pay television network founded in 1972.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so also happy birthday to my friend, turned 30. Woo!
Happy birthday.
A lot of my friends are turning 30 this year, and
Dirty 30.
Yeah, and they're very sad, or like
really?
Everyone's so like scared of aging.
That's crazy.
And I'm like,
well,
I was like, you're fine.
I mean, it's not crazy, but it's fine. But also, like, I totally understand, I guess, like, why, in a sense. Like, it's not normal, but it is normalized.
Yeah, which,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I feel like, you know, for as many things as we, like, stress and worry about, I feel like that should be one thing that, like, should be, like, non-existent, because
Agreed.
I feel like you can't do anything about it.
It's like passive. Yeah.
It's just accept it.
It's just part of literally every life, and you just get older. And also, like, but the thing is, like, it's the best. And I feel like people, kind of talking about it, but maybe it's a little underestimated. And I know I'm not in my 30s yet, but I'm excited for
Dude,
them.
me too.
Yeah, because everyone talks about like how just like
great,
yes, how freeing and like peaceful everything
they're like,
is.
well, everyone's like everything goes up.
Yeah,
in your 30s,
well,
like,
because you're
learn.
finally
like you've worked for a while, so now you start to have money. You might you have more opportunities, you have more knowledge under your belt.
Exactly,
and then everyone's like, I'm so old, and I'm like,
the comfortability.
I'm like, you can tell me you're old when you're like 95.
Yeah,
I'm like, because
nowadays it's. Yeah, because, like, maybe, like, way back when in, like, the 1910s or something.
I'm like, there's people living to be, like, 100 plus.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, what is, like, well, we were just talking about the oldest Holocaust survivor. Was it 120 or 110? I don't know, something.
12, a big number, yeah.
A bunch of years. Yeah, so it's, like, it's really crazy to hear that, because I did just actually have a conversation with somebody newer in my life that I've just recently met, and they're in their 30s, and we were kind of talking, they have kids, and then I was like, they were like, how old are you? And I told them, and then they were like, wow, I thought you were younger, and I was like, well, thanks. I was like, well, how old are you? And then they told me, and they're in their 30s, and I was like, oh, nice. I was like, that's cool. And then she was like, yeah, I love it. I've never felt better. And I was like, that's cool.
Yes.
Like, you have more, like, this is who I am, you know what I mean? And you're like comfortable with it, because there's not that awkward changing and developing.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think that's cool. So I'm excited for that, and I think that more people should embrace that. But the reason why I said, like, I can understand kind of is because, like, I remember my mom was a young mom.
Yeah.
But I remember her being literally in her 20s and telling me, like, I'm getting old. I'm so old. I'm so old. And it's like, obviously, as a kid, you're like, dang, she might be old. Because, like, you're like, a child.
You're like, damn, that's going to be me in 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, damn. But, and so I feel like that probably happens to a lot of people. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then they grow up thinking, like, oh, when I hit 30, like, I must be so old. But
and then, like, social norms and stuff about, like, where you should be, or what
I think especially for females.
Yeah.
Like, the age thing is, like, even bigger. Like I feel like, because it's, like, with the whole society norms and pressures and stuff like that is also, like, gender pressures of, like, hey, oh, you should have had a kid already, or you should have been married already, if you're into that heteronormative stuff. So it's like, that stuff definitely, I think, is prevalent with the whole age thing. Like, people like to put markers down for age times, and so obviously it's gonna feel like, oh fuck, I'm getting so old and I haven't done anything yet, because you've already put a timer on everything. But
and then yesterday we were going to hang out, but I had to have a work meeting after, so we didn't know if, like, that'd be running too late with your work schedule for going to bed. Yeah, so we just postponed it, and because of that, after the meeting, I ended up going to dinner with my coworkers, and that was nice. We went to Chihuahuas, and just talked for a few hours. It was nice, and then I came home, hung out for a while, and then I passed out, like, I think at like 11:30, and then I woke up probably like an hour later to let the dogs out, and then I went back to bed, and then I woke up at 5 because the wind was being ridiculous. It was being so loud. The gust was gusting. And, I was like,
go gust, queen. That's so funny to me. I don't know why. That's so funny. Go ahead, sorry.
It was crazy. I was like, what the heck? It's just like, and I was like, can you chill out? And then, like, the tree branches kept smacking my window, and I was like,
on purpose.
They're
like, wake up. Just kidding.
Wake up. But yeah, so.
No, the wind has been fucking crazy lately.
Yeah.
Crazy.
The news said it was, like, supposed to be, I think, in town, like, 38 miles per hour.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I seen cars fucking, rocking back and
Yeah,
forth
at
on
my
the road.
work, one of the doors got like cracked open from the wind.
Like opened?
Like it cracked because the wind was like,
Oh.
yeah.
One of the girls that I work with, she got out of her car today. And see, I have so much experience with almost like, I feel like almost being blown away by that fast of a wind that like, I know that the doors will fly open if I'm not careful. So I'm always, and even if it's just a little bit, I'm just cautious because it takes one gust.
Yeah.
So I hold onto my door like it's my arm. Like I hold onto it hard. And this girl, I guess, didn't. And her fucking door swung open so hard. I heard her go when it
my gosh,
opened. And she was like, damn, I thought my door was about to fly off. I was like, that'd be fucked up, honestly.
Yeah.
But I could see it happening.
Yeah.
Be careful, everyone. Be careful, because also you might hit someone else's car, and that'll be probably worse.
I know. Well, that happened to me one time. I went inside. Not my car didn't hit a car, but I went inside. PetSmart. Were you with me?
No,
okay,
I don't know. I feel.
It was either you or my sister, but went inside. Then I came out, and I was like, "There's like this like." little divot on my car, and I was like, what the heck?
Oh, they weren't there?
No. And then I was like, wow, what happened? Because I was like, was it a hit and run? I had no idea what happened. And then like
a hit and run. It's just a fucking big ass smash inside on the side of your car. You're like, what happened? Just kidding.
And then I don't know, I make it to a few places, and I like called my mom to complain, and then like I end up like getting home, and then I see like a tiny little note under my windshield, and it was like, hey, sorry, like here's my insurance info.
Well, that's nice.
This and this. Sorry, we waited outside for you for a long time. And dude, I'd be going to stores and taking so long, going down every aisle.
Now. Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, they're like, we waited, we went inside, got our stuff, came back out, and still waited, and you weren't out here.
So we went to get dinner, came back. We raised a kid in that time.
But yeah, and I was like, oh, dang. And then they're like, sorry, as soon as I opened the door, the wind just knocked it into your car. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so...
I was like, that makes sense.
That's really nice of them to leave a note. Because, like, most people obviously wouldn't.
Yeah.
One time I was at work, a different job, a while ago. And I had pulled up at almost around the same time as my coworker. But obviously, like, they had been there a little bit before me. And they carpooled. It was two girls. And one was in the driver's seat, one was in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
My car's on the passenger side.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's a windy day. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. Like, as long as everyone watches their doors, it should be fine. So we get out of the car, totally fine. Go to work, whatever. I start walking back to my car, and they're in the car. I think it was like maybe it was break or something.
Yeah.
And... it's still really windy, and I'm walking up, and the driver has her door open, and the passenger has hers cracked. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if she doesn't realize, like, how windy it is, like, I just have this feeling her door's gonna hit my car. Literally, like, 2 seconds later, as I'm walking up, I hit unlock on my car. Her fucking door flies and hits my car. And no sense of urgency. Because they don't know that I'm coming. And I'm like, what is happening? And so I hit unlock on my car again. Because obviously it hit at the same time as I hit unlock. So she didn't hear my car unlock. She heard the fucking hitting of my car. And then they hear my car unlock. And then they like, get up and like close the door or whatever. And then I was like, I'm going to need your insurance.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's not even my car. And I look at the girl on the driver's side, who's obviously a friend. I'm like, well, then I need your insurance. I was like, because you let your passenger just sit here with the door open.
You don't got full coverage?
Yeah, come on. I mean, I know it's an accident, but like, could have been avoided also.
Yeah.
And so then it was like this thing where like, because they were younger than me, probably not by a lot, but like mentally also, you could just tell that they just are very young. So I like was trying to be kind about it, hey, can I get your insurance? She's like, yeah, I'll give it to you by the end of the day. I'm like, all right, okay. I know where you work, girl. So so I work throughout the day, whatever. And then I see her again, and I'm like, this is like maybe the last break before we're about to leave. And I told her, I said, hey, I'm gonna need your insurance. Again, I'm just reminding you because I don't want you to get out of here and not have given it to me.
Yeah.
She's like, okay. Yeah. And then she goes and she starts telling people that, like,
You're gonna beat her up.
I was being rude.
Okay.
I was being rude because I was asking her for insurance and stuff.
Yeah.
So then I said, you know what? That was wrong of me. Let me go to HR. So, so I went to my boss and HR, and I was like, look, I know this doesn't really have anything to do with you, but it did happen on this property, and it's both of your employees. I was like, so she needs to give me her insurance, and I just feel like she's trying to give me the dip. And I was like, so if you guys can work that out. And I'm sitting there, and she's like, yeah. Then they call her into the office, and she's like, yeah, like, you know, like, she doesn't know what we're here for.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, so we understand, like, something happened, you know, if you could just give her your insurance, I think it'll all be good. I think that's all she wants. And I was like, I didn't look at her because at this point, you know, she's making these things up about me. All I asked was for insurance. All of a sudden, I'm a mean person. So she's like, oh, yeah, I was going to give it to you. I was like, okay, cool. So let me see it. Yeah, let's do it now. And so then, I ended up getting it from her. But I remember after that, it was just so awkward. She just really thought I was like a mean person. It's not like I did anything. It's just the principle of the fact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Accidents.
Life, huh?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was crazy. The gust be gustin'.
It do be gustin'.
Yeah, but then that was my morning, and then I was up, so then I like took a shower, and then I like watched some of Love Island. No, sorry, Love is Blind. And
is it like a new season?
No, it's the old one that I never started, but there is going to be a new one on Valentine's.
Is it still America? Or is it a different place?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think they have other ones, but I never really watched the other locations.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But then I was like exhausted, so then I like took a nap, and then I didn't want to wake up. I was like, oh, I'm so tired. Why did I take a nap? And then went to work. And now we're here. How's your week?
Pretty uneventful. But I did, well, I shouldn't say uneventful, but
weren't you sick?
I was hella sick. I think I caught that norovirus that everyone's been getting.
Yeah, didn't your partner give it to you?
He had it first, I'm pretty sure. But the thing is, I wasn't even convinced that it was norovirus, and I still wasn't convinced until, like, I was better. Then I was like, I guess it was. I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know. But it's funny because, like, so we had talked about norovirus, like, around the holidays because, or even maybe a little bit before Thanksgiving or something. So that's how long it's been kind of like populating and kind of carrying around, and now it's like really, really spreading. And there's not like really anything you can do about it except for try and stay safe. It's super passable and stuff. Like, you get it so easy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, yeah, that really sucks. Like, because your dogs can get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, dang, we better not get it. Just because I obviously don't want to give it to the dogs. And
you're like, it's okay if I get it, but not my babies.
Yeah. And my partner gets sick, and he's telling me, like, he's throwing up and stuff. And I was like, is it what I cooked? Is it
no, it was like as soon as I saw your partner in the morning, I was like, at work, I was like,
he looks sickly.
I was like, are you okay? And he's like, I don't feel good. And I was like, he looks like paper white. Like,
pale. Yeah.
I had never seen someone like that white in my life.
Yeah.
And then, like, I remember, like, he was there, and then, like, I saw him again when I went on my first break, and I was like, he's, like, at the computer, and he's, like, sweating, and he looks worse than, like, I had just seen him, like, a few hours ago. I was like, are you leaving? He's like,
yeah. Yeah.
I hope you feel better. And I was like, geez.
Yeah. And then he got better pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It passes also really fast. Like,
Good.
you get over it pretty quickly. But he had it, and then he didn't have it. And then it was a few days, and then I got really sick. So I wasn't convinced it was norovirus because I was like, well, I would have been sick already, like, when you were sick then, if that's the case. Because, like, we live together. This makes sense that I would barely be getting it now.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm just in denial. It was really bad. It was bad to the point I, like, my partner was super sweet and got me like Gatorade
Yeah.
Delight or whatever, like it's
Yeah,
like Pedialyte or whatever,
electrolytes, yeah.
but it's like Gatorade.
Mhm.
And I love the cucumber flavor of Gatorade, so you got me that one, and some water on the side, and like crackers just in case I could stomach anything.
Mhm.
And first of all, I could not stomach crackers, and it like I felt like I was like, what's his name with the worm in my brain, because I was trying to break pieces off of a cracker and it was just crumbling because it's like the tiniest pieces I
Oh
was
my
trying to get to
gosh,
just
yeah.
turning to dust in my hands. So I was like, fuck it, I can't even eat it anyway.
Yeah.
But I would try to take a sip of Gatorade, and that was gross to me.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't. Only water was like the only thing I could
Yeah.
put down, and that would always come back up eventually. But still, that was better than at some point, like right before I had even started drinking water because I was just so miserable.
Yeah.
It was just obviously stomach bile, and it just was like burning so bad, and it was like the brightest yellow ever, and I was like, I need something. So the water and just, I guess, because I basically just laid in bed for 24 hours. I watched Lost, and I was afraid of giving it to my dogs, but they hung out in the room with me the whole time. They just weren't in my face. I just didn't allow them to get in my face. They're just like kind of at the end of the bed. But yeah, almost like 24 hours just straight in bed, sweating on and off, because I would get up to go to the bathroom and I'd be freezing. I'm shaking, and then like I'd turn on my little space heater when I got back to the bed and be sweating in the fucking blankets, and then I'm like, fuck. It was like so uncomfortable. But towards like after the end, like my partner will say like after one of his throw ups, that was it for throwing up. Like he was done, and like it was pretty much just the other stuff after that.
Yeah.
But for me, I felt like I was throwing up a lot, and it was like super annoying because my stomach just kept being agitated. Like I couldn't sleep on my back, I couldn't sleep on my side, I couldn't, you know, it was fucked up. I'm just glad it's over, but it's been definitely going around, so everyone be careful. I texted you right away because I was like, if you feel anything,
fuck, dude, I was like, I better not get sick.
Yeah, I hope not either.
It hits me this week.
I'm like, feel so bad, dude. I fucking literally after I felt better the next morning, I was like, yeah, knock on wood. I cleaned all my bathrooms. I was like, I'm fucking spraying disinfectant on everything. I was like, this fucking sucks. And it sucks because I also the day before I had seen or had gotten sick or whatever, I just saw my little sister and my mom too.
No.
So I texted them too, and I was like, just in case, look out for some signs or whatever. So sorry for everyone I came into contact with before I realized I was even sick.
Yeah. Crazy.
Super crazy.
Glad you're better. Glad you didn't die.
Yeah, me either. I did for a second think I thought I was gonna wither away.
Oh no.
But
I was gonna say, I noticed on like a few of like, I buy like when you get from Costco, whatever snacks or whatever for your lunches. I noticed that some of them have this like little, oh wait, I'll just show you. Hold on, let me pause. So I just showed this. They're adding little cute little thought clouds next to serving sizes, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like she showed me specifically on this Ritz package.
Yes.
It has like the amount of what calories, and then
it lets you know that one serving size is
how
the pack.
many.
Yeah.
And then it tells you, it says one serving equal, and then it has like a picture of a little package. So you can tell it's that package.
Yeah. I was telling Des that I noticed I've been seeing it on a few snacks, and I thought that's pretty cute. Pretty cool.
Yeah. It's always good to know, I guess, what a serving size is. Sometimes, like, though, you look at a serving size of hot Cheetos, it's like 8 Cheetos.
It's 21, about 21.
Yeah.
Is it the same for all Cheetos?
Dramatic, but you know what I'm saying. It's you know what I'm saying. It's like, dude, that's not enough for me. 21 Cheetos. What if one of them is small, or a couple of them are small?
A small Cheeto.
Does it take that into account?
No, well, obviously.
Is it all large Cheetos?
Obviously, the small ones don't count.
Those are freebies.
Those aren't even. Yeah, those aren't even Cheetos.
I like that.
But also, January is over.
Yeah, it is. It's February.
We are in February.
And
I I was gonna tell you we should do a goal check-in now that it's
Oh yeah.
yeah, so let me pull up our goals. Okay. So, how has reading more been going for you?
I could be doing better, but I did read yesterday, so I'd say I'm doing all right.
Okay.
So I'm doing all right. I'm
Yeah.
steady slowing down, depending on what thing I prioritize.
Yeah. What would you say maybe you can do this next month to help you do a little more reading so you could kind of think of something to help you?
Probably it's honestly probably just it's probably I just need to stop getting on my phone.
Okay.
Because I have this little cat game,
Mhm.
Neko Atsume or Neko something, which means cat in Japanese. I don't know, and it's like a cat picture collecting. You just take pictures of cats, and sometimes I like get stuck trying to catch different cats.
Yeah.
So and then the Pokemon card game also because they just released a couple different packs and they have a
Nice.
couple different events going on.
Yeah.
And so, and I can't help it. I'm such a like, I don't know why when it comes to that game. I think because it's so new too. It's so much. It feels easier to try and collect everything because you're there at the beginning to
Yeah.
try and get it all. That I feel like I have
You
to
have
get
to
it
catch
all.
them all?
Yeah, I have to catch them all. So I've been stuck on that, and I think honestly, if I could just pause. I did take off all my social media on my phone, like off the screen. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like an impulse to just click it
Mhm.
open. And along with that, this is not on my goal list, but I'm trying to drop my consumerism habits. Like
Okay.
I would also just open shop or
Okay.
something and just be looking at things. And yeah, I'm like mostly window shopping, but
Yeah.
it's every now and then I'm like, yeah, I'll buy it, fuck it.
Yeah.
And like that's not
accidentally
okay.
accidentally buy a card of like $500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never don't want to do that again. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to limit that too. So maybe if I just stop getting on my phone, I would be able to read more.
Okay. Me for my read more physical books has not been going well because I haven't picked up a physical book, but I have gone through 5
Nice,
audiobooks.
nice.
So there's that.
Yeah,
There's
that's
that.
good.
Yeah. Then my second one, sleep more. I don't know. I guess I'm sleeping more, so that's
More
good.
or similar?
More.
More. Okay.
Yeah. And for your second
What
one,
was it?
spend more time outside.
Oh yeah, I'm doing that
Good.
all
good.
the time, smoking outside. No, but when I do read, sometimes I
Yeah.
read outside,
Okay.
draw outside.
Yeah. Cool. And then my third one is post more for the pod, which I
yeah.
made one post. It was
Yeah?
our giveaway post.
If you haven't seen it,
Oh no, I made 2. I did our 1,000
Oh, yeah.
downloads, and
Yep.
then we have our giveaway running.
mm-hmm.
So
A
don't
little reel.
yeah,
A little reel.
don't forget about that. Don't forget to enter. Don't forget to
Instructions are in the description.
follow us, like, comment, or if you don't have any of those, don't forget to submit a story through our Google submissions.
Yeah, we
form.
love reading your guys' like submissions on our Google form.
Yeah. I was thinking about something, and I'll bring it up in a second
Okay.
after we go over your
Okay.
third one. Your third one was to make new stickers.
Okay, so actually with that, good news. I did create new stickers for the month of February.
Yay.
For Valentine's. I'll send you the photo of the original so you can post it.
Perfect.
So that'll check off 2 goals, one for you, one for me.
Score.
And they're in the theme of Valentine's. They're like a matchbox. I have red and blue version. Because I thought it'd be cute to like just do 2 different color versions and like let people kind of decide, kind of like a voting, like what team kind of thing. Like I don't know, red versus blue kind of thing. So I'm super excited to hand those out and give them away. So if you see me, let me know. And of course, our winner will be receiving one of each. That's typical.
Of course.
Typical. So yeah, I'm excited. But yes, I did that.
Yeah. I was going to say, so with us both, well, I guess mine's not really a tick off, but I was going to say, since you did make new stickers, is there like another goal you'd want to add for the year? or like a new goal to replace that one, or like
Well, I guess it's a continuous goal. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
made new ones for the month of February.
so you're gonna do one every month?
Well, no, but
Okay, okay.
I that'd be crazy a little bit, but I do have plans, right? I have I don't want to get too ahead of myself and say too much and then like not be able to deliver.
Yeah.
But I have obviously pod stickers planned or ideas written down for that. I've been writing my ideas down. Like I have so many ideas sometimes
Good.
and then I forget them when I go to draw. But now I'm like, oh, I want to make a sticker of this, so I write it down real quick. Oh, I want to make a sticker of that, so I write it down. So one of them is a pod. Definitely. I also have for the last 2 years made a Halloween sticker.
Yes.
So obviously we'll be doing that again. That's not till later in the year, but still. And probably anything kind of in between that I feel, you know what I mean? Maybe
Yeah.
a holiday or maybe just a general idea.
Whatever you're thinking of.
Whatever fits the mood.
Mm-hmm.
So probably keep that one.
Nice.
But I would, yeah, I don't know. And then I guess I could add, because I have already kind of started doing more physical, just getting my heart rate up every day. You know, I see the rings on my phone. It tells me how many steps, which is cool or whatever.
Yeah.
I took like a mile walk with the dogs the other day, and that was really nice. And every day, I mean, I told you I subscribe to those people on YouTube. I pretty much do that almost every day.
Okay,
There's like only a
awesome.
few days I don't.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to keep that as a good habit too.
Nice. I love that. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
But okay, so in my work meeting, you know, we have like a bunch of new stylists that started up with us. So they're just like going over like tips and tricks and stuff. And like one of them was like, make sure you always have like mints or gum for like after you eat. They're like, so you, or like, and deodorant, so you're not like
stinky.
smelling bad.
Yeah.
Because you know, when you're like doing hair, you're like up in people's like business.
Space. Yeah. You're like curling their hair and your armpits are like out. Yeah.
Or like you're washing them and like your armpits are literally by their nose.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like I guess I didn't know how close like I would be on like people, and I'm very mindful. I try to not like be on top of them, and like sometimes like my manager will do like wash my hair for me or something, or like she'll be teaching a class and like she's like up like in between people's legs.
Oh,
and,
really?
Like,
she's like on top of them climbing.
Yeah, no, like and I mean like, and sometimes you do need to get up that close, and I'm like, it's like I'm still too awkward to be up on people like that.
I see what you're saying.
So, but then like when we were talking about that, it like jogged my memory, and I was thinking about that submission we got last year. Do you remember the one about like,
oh yeah,
it was an advice one, and like we had so many submissions, so we kept a little backlog. So I was thinking, since we haven't like read any of them, we should read this one and respond to the advice they asked for.
Okay, yeah, that's so funny.
Let me pull it up really quick. Let me pause. Okay, we're back. So let's see. Let me just. Okay. So this is from an anonymous submitter. And they said, is it rude to tell the person you're about to kiss or kissing already that their breath smells like shit? I'm tired of pretending it's okay. I'm not holding back anymore.
That's right. I remember now.
Like, how could I forget?
That's hilarious.
And that is a great question. And that's like something I feel that is very like difficult to talk about. I guess like we haven't really like gauged like intimate topics on this podcast yet. And like I know that's like something when you like say something, if you say it the wrong way, it could like totally damage a person or like
hurt their ego.
Yeah, like, you know, like especially like this is specifically kissing, but like there could be stuff like when you guys are on the more intimate side and you want to say something and like sometimes you bring it up in the middle of whatever and then it's just like,
yeah, sure,
you know, just kind of like messes with them.
It's the energy that you're bringing with it. Yeah.
But has this ever happened to you? Have you ever been kissing someone and your breath is bad and they tell you, or has their breath been bad and you told them?
You know what? I don't think I've ever been told, thankfully, that my breath has been bad.
Yeah.
Maybe people were being polite. I have no idea, because I'm sure there's been times my breath stinks. I mean, I'm sure we've all had it.
Yeah.
I've definitely kissed, I feel like, and it's been like a little bit stinky, like maybe, you know, morning breath when you have like a long-term partner.
Sure,
it's like, whoa. But, you know, you still kiss them because you love them.
You're like,
and it's like, it's okay. A little bit, you know, just a little bit stink. It's whatever. But I don't know. I honestly... No, I don't know. Not too much on the... I just, like, this is reminding me of, like, that story, like, when I was, like, a really young kid. And not, like, it's kissing, but, like, I knew 2 twins who had, like, really fucking stinky breath. Like, really stinky breath.
And you're always trying to give them gum?
No, I was too young to even consider that. But I was young enough that I just knew that, like...
Not to say anything?
But to just be nice to them. And they were really nice people. They're nice friends. But I remember even then, like, they're talking to me and my head is, like, focusing on their breath because it's so bad.
Oh, my God.
So I feel like it is probably better to say something if you're going to be trying to kiss people. Yeah. And it's really bad. Like, is it a common occurrence? It's bad every single time you try to kiss them?
Yeah, because, okay, I guess that, you know, is it a one-off? I guess that does make a difference.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's rude to tell them, especially if you're going to, or if you've been kissing this person. And, like, it is, like you said, if you've been kissing them and it's a consistent issue, like... I think just how you go about it, like maybe do it when you're not actively kissing, like maybe after, and kind of maybe like in a caring way, like probably don't say your breath smells like shit when we kiss.
It's fucking horrible.
Maybe, you know, maybe just say like, hey, can I talk to you? And, you know, okay, I guess this is like another thing that I've learned from other podcasts is like, make sure they're in a good mental space and you're in a good mental headspace. Like, hey, you could even be like, hey, I want to talk to you about something. It's a little like, personal, and I just, I want to tell you because I care about you, or it's something that's really bothering me, but I want you to be.
Dang. You're like, it's really upsetting me. It's like disturbing me to my core, and I have to tell you.
You know, can we talk right now? And then if they're like, yeah, we could talk right now, and be like, hey, like, you know, I've noticed like when we kissed earlier, or like the past few times we've kissed, like your breath has been a little bit bad, and like it makes me not want to kiss you. Like I just want to let you know. I don't know if like maybe you need to brush your teeth, or like maybe floss, maybe, you know, like. And then if it's like it could be like a medical thing, actually.
I was gonna say that too. I was gonna say it'd be thrush. It could literally be like
you could have tonsil stones. Yeah, like. You know, you could bring that up. I don't know if it's a medical thing, or, you know, maybe you need to have a little bit better, like, dental hygiene. And that's, like, something that obviously you and me struggle with depending on our mental health.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I think that I agree with everything you're saying, but at the same time, I personally don't think I'd ever have the confidence enough to say the things. And not that they're rude or anything like that, but it is one of those things where it's, like, it's so much information that I feel like maybe they might still take that wrong, because it's like, I don't know, maybe like when someone has a booger in their nose, you know, maybe it's not the best thing to drag it out and be like, look, I know you might not be in the greatest headspace right now, but you have a fucking fat booger in your nose. No, but like the breath thing, I feel like so many things matter, right? How long have you known them? Is it constant? Is it a one-off thing? Whatever. But for the majority, whatever situation, if you want to, if you already have the guts and you're saying, I want to tell them, how do I tell them? Yeah. I feel like cut and dry. But don't be rude. But like cut and dry, just get to it. Yeah. Like, hey, last time we were kissing, I noticed your breath is pretty bad.
You were going to say reeked?
It fucking reeked. That shit was dank, bro. No, but you know, it really stunk. Or hey, I noticed like when we kissed or whatever, your breath kind of stinks. Are you doing okay? If you want to go the route of it could be something else, not just them. You know, that's all situational awareness. Stuff, but, you know,
I was gonna say okay, but no. When I was saying, I'm just giving like different things. I'm not saying that's how you're gonna say it.
You're like listing all these things.
No, you're like I'm just giving the person who asked like maybe like some options like. you know, that they can like think of, like, so they're not just like assuming they're like a nasty person or whatever.
Well, also, do you love them so much? Like, what if you, like, are you in love with this person? If you're in love with this person, and let me just ask you a question. If they were going to have stinky breath forever, would you still love them? Is the thing. Because, like, I feel like that's a more important question. Not, like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, can you live with it? Or is it really
like
that fucking bad that
Yeah.
you're like, no, I need to know how to tell them that it's really bad? Because this is also reminding me of, like, when you're like a dental assistant or dentist, or you just work in the medical field and you have stinky people in your offices or whatever, it's funny because they tell you, like, you know, you wear a mask.
Yeah.
They put, like, people will put, like, dryer sheets and stuff
so
in there.
Smells good.
So they don't have to smell outside the mask.
Yes.
And it's like, maybe you could invest in, like, no scented plugs or something.
It's like every time you kiss, you already have a mint in your mouth or gum.
Right. And you, like, pass it on to them while you're kissing them.
But yeah, I don't know. I was going to say, like, the fact that you said you don't think he could ever, like, bring it up.
Well, I guess just not in that way. I feel like I could, especially obviously, like, if it was my partner and they had stinky breath, like, we've been together for a while now, that I feel like I could definitely be like, your breath kind of stinks, like, maybe it's time to hit the wash, or like,
do you want me to help you brush your teeth?
do you want me to pick the food out?
I will. That's love.
Right.
That's love.
Exactly. And so, yeah, I think it definitely depends on things, how long you've known them, whatever. But ultimately, if it's really that bad, you're just gonna have to tell them, and try to be. Obviously, you know them better than we do, so, like, you're gonna have, because it's anonymous. I don't know who this is. I don't know who the person they're talking about.
If you want to come up to us and approach us in real life, anonymous,
I will say, I will say that people also have varying different levels of ego, and and no matter how you say something, somebody with a really fragile ego will still get hurt.
Well, and I was gonna say, and anytime anyone tells anyone anything, like
embarrassing,
well, just anything, you know, that goes against you as a person, you're gonna feel attacked, you're gonna get defensive right away. And that's just, I feel like that's everyone's, like, defense mechanisms.
I just hope you wouldn't over, like,
but you know, like I think, like, stuff like
unless
that could be rude. Like, and if they said it like they wrote it in, that would
true.
be a little bit rude. But that's our take on that.
So let us know. Write in again. Let us know if you ever tell them.
Give us an update. Did you tell them?
How did you tell them?
Sorry, we got, like, a few submissions, and, like, we try to, we were trying to, like, make it a more avid thing, and then I feel like we got so many, and then it just kind of slowed down. So we just kind of have a little backlogs, and I guess I kind of forgot about it because they've been sitting there for a while.
Until it just jogged. For sure. So definitely, if anonymous, if you're listening now and we gave you advice, tell us if it was good advice, but most importantly, tell us what the outcome was of everything that happened.
And then also remember, it's just our advice. Like, you don't have to agree with us.
Oh, yeah. We're not professionals in any way at all.
You don't have to take our advice at all.
You can go the opposite direction. You could just be like, dude, fuck off.
And let us know how that went.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, let us know.
And thanks for writing in. We appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Okay, one more thing I wanted to talk about. So I was listening to Brother Let's Talk. I was listening to their most recent episode. And Jose was, like, talking about, like, kind of just, like, maybe reflecting on himself and, like, listening to the podcast or whatever. And he brought up, like, the fact that he talks way too fucking much. He's like, I said when we started this podcast that I wanted to enunciate better. Sometimes I talk so fast, I feel like people can't understand what I'm saying. And then he said, like, I just talk so much. Like, I just talk and talk and talk. For what reason? Like, and he was kind of like, I guess,
I
like, getting
I did kind of see that
down on himself. And I was like, what? Like,
to me, my point of view, not to cut you off, but is definitely like, well, if you got something to say it.
And, like, he had mentioned something about, like, when he edited the podcast, he's like, I cut out, like, 10 minutes of me talking about this, and that. And, like, when he was talking about that, I kind of reflected on our podcast, and like we barely cut anything out of our podcast. The only thing we cut out is like if I have to go pee, if we gotta take a water break,
if there's a showing of something that we can't. Yeah. Too much time silent. Yeah.
If it's like, big pauses, or you need the dog's drinking water.
Right. Jumping
or like,
around.
for some reason, when we're recording and I'm playing it back, there's a lot of me and you going, like, out of breath. And I'm like, what is going on here? You know, just cutting out like extra filler space that we don't need.
Yeah.
And then like after that, he kind of like bridged into like talking about like he was thinking about like, oh, like what makes Joe Rogan a good podcast, and this and that, and like I was just like, I think
familiarity.
I think the fact that it's maybe I don't know, and I don't know where Johnny's mindset is, if it's like parallel to Jose's, or if, you know, he doesn't care as much, but like thinking about like, oh, well, how do we make our podcast the best podcast? And like, you know, then he had mentioned something about like, he's like, we can see where people drop off, and like, you know, whoever listens, like my sister Jessica, like blah, 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 you know. And then I just was kind of like reflecting about us, and I was like, well, like when me and you record, we don't really have expectations or a mindset or a frame around how we're recording, what we're doing. We just get together and we're just ourselves, and we're vulnerable, and we just like, you know, we just do what we do, and we love doing it, and we're just doing it because of that, with no like end goal, and everything extra is just extra. It's just a cherry on top. And like I think I want to have a talk with him about that, and like let him know, like, you know, some sisterly advice, like, oh, I feel you shouldn't care so much, because like for me, and like I feel like I can feel myself getting a little emotional, but like listening to him break out of his shell is like,
oh, it's okay.
You know, it's just really like nice, because that's like the thing, you know, like people are like, oh, like podcasts are weird, you're just listening to other people talk, but it's like, yeah, you're getting to know someone, and like, yeah, it is one-sided most of the time, but like especially if it's someone, you know, it's like, oh, like I can't spend all this time with my brother, but then it's like, oh, I get to learn all these extra things like as an offshoot from his podcast, and like that's nice. And like I never want him to think that like he's taking up too much space or something. And that's like a thing with everyone, like even at work. One of the leads at work says sorry all the time, and the other day I was like, hey, stop saying sorry. Don't say sorry for taking up space. Like people need to stop apologizing for being themselves and like filling up space, like, or having like thoughts of, you know, like, and I know it's hard to not have thoughts of what people think, but like, you should just be yourself and talk as much as you want, or don't talk as much as you want, and just like, you know, don't compare yourself to other people.
I was gonna say the quote, comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes,
you know what I mean. So yeah, I agree, because I did kind of catch that on Brother Let's Talk, and you know, they even mention it in their description, like that it's a pretty big part of it, like that episode, how he felt about himself. And I feel like you did a great job summarizing how we kind of go about our podcast. And the craziest thing is like you did bring up them talking about Joe Rogan. Yeah. Which is like, well, one, it is the number one podcast in the entire world for multitude of reasons, but it was used politically. Yeah. And we know that for sure. Yes. So that's a big thing. They have huge backing. Well, and then Joe Rogan's like one of the most notorious people I was going to say, and then he
has time. He's been doing it the longest.
He's been famous for so long. Also, he knows a huge roster of people too to bring onto his show.
Yes, yeah.
You know, and because of that and all of his backing, he's constantly getting more and more open doors to more and more people who are very interesting to talk to and to see, and that would just bring in people because of who they are as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? I did, before I knew that Joe Rogan was like kind of right-winged or whatever else, I knew him as a Fear Factor guy.
No, yeah. So, and like and that's is that nepotism? Is his podcast from nepotism? Like, like sort of nepotism, but also like we said, like he had the setup.
Yeah, he just had the the ability, because I don't know how he got into the industry. That
Yeah.
could have been whatever.
Yeah.
But the fact is that he's been in the industry for so long, he's had the time to build it up
Mhm.
and then start the podcast, and then from there had all this backing that it's just, and he was one of the first to
Yeah.
do it.
No,
It's
yeah.
not like the podcast is brand new
Yeah.
and now he's famous.
Yes.
No, he's been around for a really, really long time trying to get this going. So I feel like, although I'm not against people having goals. If your goal is to have a successful podcast, more power to you. But I don't think the goal should be to be as popular as X or to be as successful as X. Just be successful in whatever that means to you. So if that means having more listeners that are more frequent and they listen to the full episode, then having one more person who does that completely should be like succeeding, you know, and every one person after that. You gotta, I feel like, especially with smaller or newer podcasts, it is a saturated market.
No,
there's so many podcasts.
Yes.
Your goals should be small if you're going to be having goals. I like that we do our podcast because we just like to do our podcast.
Yeah.
And it's not really like, the aim is not to be like the most famous people in the entire world. That sounds like crazy to me.
Yeah.
But just anybody who does listen, we're just so appreciative of, because we're like, well, thanks for getting to know us.
Yeah. And then, okay, so I looked it up. His first episode aired December 24th, 2009.
That's crazy, bro.
So he's been in it.
He's one of the first.
And obviously in his first year, he was probably like us.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and podcasting didn't even become like
big until COVID.
Even
I feel like more people started listening during COVID than anything, and that's where things really, really took off. And then more and more comedians and more talent started getting their own podcasts. And you know, whatever.
And like I was gonna say, you are right, it is saturated, but at the same time, like back to, I don't remember what episode in the beginning. But you know how I brought up how like our generation is more okay with sharing space, like YouTubers, vloggers, TikTokers, influencers, and like even though the market is so saturated, all these people have like cult followings of like little groups. Like how many podcasts do we listen to and how big their following is specifically for their podcast. And like there's people that have never heard of that podcast.
Right.
And there's people that have these little shows that are living off of their podcast.
Yeah.
And no one knows who they are.
Right.
And it's like, because we're different. We're not like, oh, we're going to monopolize the podcast space.
Right.
Yeah.
And I totally understand that. I still think like the thing about those podcasts too, though, is they've also been in the game for a while. It's all about growth and just like learning and time, and
it's showing up every day.
Every day, it's
every week.
Consistency.
It's whatever your goal is. Post your weekly episode, post your monthly, whatever you know. And like you said, like those podcasts that are starting to live off of it or make money off of it have been at least 5 years.
Yeah.
Like,
well, because like my favorite, Small Town Murder or whatever, they do tours all the time. But I feel like they had made a comment like in more recent times, like, dang, we're finally being able to do this, like it's what we're living off of now. Like that's finally what we're doing. And like now, we're business owners now because of this podcast. And that's really interesting because obviously that's years and years after they started their first podcast. It's like their second podcast. You know what I mean? So it's, you know, everything is time and finding your audience and being content with what you're putting out. Don't put anything out that you're not proud of, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like the ultimate goal should be that you're proud of it and you're happy with what comes with it. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
I totally get, like, if you're going to be trying to live up to some type of expectation or trying to compare yourself to anything, why that'll feel like you're not doing things right.
And I guess maybe a more realistic comparison, like, oh, let me see what podcasts have been about a year, because they're a month behind us. They're going to hit their year next month, you know, and whatever. Their episodes are literally 4 behind ours. So,
yeah. That's very crazy.
Yeah, because we inspired them.
Wow.
Just yeah, if you guys are listening out there, and you guys want to start a podcast, do it.
Yeah, honestly. That's what I tell people all the time. Well, I love saying like, oh yeah, I have a podcast with my
Yeah.
friend. Like, duh. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
should start one. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because why not?
Yeah.
It's fun. Get a couple mics.
Yeah, but it's like, it's work. It's work.
Yeah.
You got to be committed if you want to do
Well,
it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like the consistency is key.
Yeah.
It's not just, I mean, for us,
it
we
took
have
us
goals.
5 years to make the podcast.
Yes, that's how much like thought went into
We're going to do it soon.
You know? So everything with time and when it feels right.
Yeah.
But easier said than done, you know?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah. Also, I feel like there's this huge, like, I don't know, if you're not making money, you're not succeeding.
Yeah.
Which I just don't agree with.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because, and I think like you shouldn't be getting, I mean, obviously, yeah, money's nice. Money can help you buy stuff or whatever. Like, I think it's a success for you to have a hobby and I think that's the thing too, like doing something you want to do. Like, don't do a podcast because you think it's going to make you a ton of money. Don't, like me, don't become a hairstylist because you think it's going to make you a ton of money. Like, you do stuff you like and then like eventually,
it works.
It works. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I guess like, cause then if you are doing it that way, you're like setting yourself up for like, you're setting up an expectation. And when that doesn't get met immediately, then you're feeling disappointed. Yes. So you really, truly, you're setting yourself up for disappointment every time. So just do what your heart tells you.
Just listen to your heart.
Listen to your heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice words. I like them. And then I guess also I remember like a comment like of him saying like, I just talked so much. And it's like way more than Johnny, but it's like,
I feel like I talk a lot.
I was going to say, and I feel like that's just like episodes. Like, you take over one, I take over one. Maybe we have an equal balance. Like
some days you just have more. I have more to say.
Yeah, like I feel like today was mostly me. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like and that's
and
the
like,
thing too.
and it's
like,
funny too because then like
and
then like when you edit, you're like, oh no, I guess we're both like talking back and
forth.
Yeah.
Well, we're having a conversation.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but my thing is definitely because honestly. And I don't know if it is my sensitivity to that, to like, oh, you talk too much. But I hate when people say they talk too much because, like, as a kid, it's like you get called chatterbox or
on your report card, great student talks too much.
Talks to your neighbor too much.
Yeah.
Moved her still talking.
Sorry, I'm so fun.
It's like,
Fuck.
I'm a great time.
Yeah.
I'm hilarious. But that's, I think, I don't know, it's just one of those things where it's like, you have something to say, you know what I mean? Why force yourself to keep it inside if you can say it, especially when it is your own podcast, because you can always edit it out if you truly don't want it to be shared. Otherwise, you are just getting thoughts out of your head, which is how conversations work, which is how, like, interacting with people works.
Yeah, and I think, like, that's always, like, a really cool reflection when you as a listener listen to a podcast, you're like, oh, like to hear the other people's perspectives on like things that you might not be able to talk to with other people or you hear about it and you're like, oh, that's a great point. Or like, then you're like, oh, I don't agree with that. But then that's just like self-realization for you. Like, oh, now I know more about myself and them. Like,
yes, exactly. I mean, yeah, because I mean, I don't think that everybody has to be agreeable on every single thing.
No, yeah. And I was going to say, there's even like times on my favorite podcast where like they'll say something and I'm like,
what?
You're fucking lucky I love you. Like, what the hell?
Hold on. No, for real. Because I literally was thinking of Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard. They fucking love Taylor Swift. And I won't go into it, but they love her so much. So sometimes, especially if she's been on tour and the co-host has seen her recently, they talk about her endlessly. Yeah. And it gets under my skin. Because it's one thing to like bring her up, whatever, but it's like another thing to have a whole 20-minute discussion about her.
Yeah.
And I will still have to sit there and listen because I'm like, I still want to listen to this episode though. Like, I know it's not forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It will pass.
Yeah.
So I guess there's some solace in like, if somebody doesn't like what you're saying or doesn't like the way that you're saying it on your podcast, they could turn it off, skip or just like ignore it and keep listening to the rest of it. And ultimately, all those choices don't affect anybody directly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just the listener.
Yeah, and like with that, like I guess even being a listener, like you know if you like a podcast or not.
Mm-hmm.
And then like
pretty fast.
And then if you are consistently listening to a podcast, you grow to love these people.
Mm-hmm.
You really admire them. You want to hear what's going on in their lives. You want to hear them ramble. You want to hear them mess up words when they're talking. And you know, you're just like,
it makes it also is just so human.
Yeah.
It's human.
Yes, very
human. And so
human.
it's like, oh yeah, by the way, I am listening to like real people on the other side of this.
This isn't a scripted pod.
Yeah.
We're over here crying over little brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wow. I could feel the emotionness.
I know. I was like, geez, oh my God. I just love my siblings.
That's how it be, bro, when you're older sister.
It's when you're the oldest.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
It's like.
They have no idea.
I remember you were a little baby. little baby. He's a tiny guy.
Yeah.
Now he's freaking taller than me.
Now he talks too much. I'm just kidding.
It's okay. He never listens.
That's true. He did draw us on his thing.
Johnny's gonna be like, hey, bro, I was listening to the latest episode.
No! Don't tell him.
Yeah. But I feel like that was a great conversation. I wanted to give some thanks and gratitude to you for, you know, being in my life and for also dealing with me. I feel like we've been talking about like stuff outside of the potty and me, and like I feel like sometimes I also feel the same way.
Really?
And like it was actually something that I like brought up to my therapist. I was like, I feel like I'm such a like bad person because I like had to like move the recording back a little bit or like something. And then she was like, why don't you just like tell her? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, and I'm like, it's hard for me to tell people stuff. And then she's like, well, like, what's the worst that can happen? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, and then she's like, oh, like, if you want to role play, like, we can, like,
that's cool.
Like, okay. And then, like, she was asking me, like, oh, like, how's the podcast going? And I'm like, oh, good. And then she's like, how does that look like? What is, you know, this and that? And then she's like, oh, do you guys make any money from it? I was like, no, we just started. And then I like told her like my whole ad thing.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, okay, let's say it comes down to it and Destiny really wants to advertise. Are you know, how's that going to look? And I was like, well, I guess I'd have to compromise with her on some level. And I was like, maybe do ads for stuff that we really enjoy. Yeah. And I said, I'm going to try to put it off for as long as I can. Mm-hmm. But I was like, oh, yeah. You know,
yeah.
She's like, yeah, you guys are like in a different type of partnership. I'm like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and speaking of like the discussion outside of work, I'm really honestly shocked to hear you say that because like, and I am with you where it comes to like, ooh, how do I say that? Or like, do I even say that? Or is that because, weird? Like, or
yeah.
Am I putting too much pressure on them to understand?
Yeah. Well, and then it's like, sometimes it's like, oh, what's like a balance? Like we do this stuff. Like it's our normal thing. And I was like, or like, you know, sometimes like maybe I will get like annoyed or something. And I'm like, but why would I say that? Like, I don't want to make her feel bad. Or like, I don't want to add to everything.
Well, and that's, and the thing is, I know that it's annoying. That's the whole point of me saying what I'm saying. Yeah. Because I know that it's fucking annoying. And if it was the other way around, I probably would be annoyed too. Like, or I would be a little bit frustrated, like, fuck, dude. But like, that's why I also give so much praise to you when I am being like that. Because then I'm like, and you know, I've said it on the podcast too. I'm like, dude, so many times this episode wouldn't have happened if Jess wasn't so compromising or so giving, because I have so many, like, and honesty on this podcast, in all honesty, I have so many bad mental health days that, like, it really does get so hard to figure out, like, because I don't want to come here into your house or have you come to my house and I'm just in this fucking terrible mood and I feel so miserable. Because the thing is, I can't think when I'm like that. And I can't be funny, and I find myself definitely being mean more times than not to people I care about when I'm in those headspaces. And that's something obviously I would never want to do unintentionally or intentionally or anything like that. And so it's almost like, as much as I know that it's annoying, I also know that it probably would have been worse if we had, if I didn't say what I needed to say. And it honestly has taken me, I mean, we've been friends for so long.
Yeah.
But it's only taken me till recently to be able to even say that stuff, because I did find it like super hard to admit or to say or to be, I guess, a problem or like a hindrance to anything.
Okay.
Like to say like, hey, can we do this? It just like was so hard, because it's almost like, I don't know. It's that pressure, I guess, that I put on other people that I don't want to be put on me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like, because I guess it would irritate me, and I know that it would irritate me, I go,
You just
I
assume
can't say that because it would irritate them.
Yeah.
And then I never say anything, and then I just go through with it, and then it's just a bad episode or whatever it is. I mean, we've had an episode or two like we end up scrapping and then like re-recording a new one on a better day that we just I feel better or you feel better or whatever it is, and it's obviously 10 times better than the episode we had recorded when I wasn't feeling good.
Yeah.
And I realize that like when it is so patterned, like it's like not just this one weekend and then a few weekends from now, but it's like every week I'm fucking having some issue or no energy or whatever, and then I recognize that. I'm like, this fucking sucks. If I was my partner, I would also be like, what the heck? Like,
yeah.
I need a little bit more from you or whatever. But I'm so I am like aware of it, and I don't think I would be upset if you say something about it. Like if you were to say like, I don't know, anything about it. Because the way that you say things, it's not like you would have been rude about it. You know what I mean? It's not like you'd be like, hey, by the way, I fucking hate you.
I'm really sorry that I have to tell you this. I hope it's okay.
But like ultimately, I'd be really receiving of that, because that's the only way I feel like. I mean, that's why we're such good friends.
Yeah.
I feel like, because like even though it does take us like up till now to be able to say these things to each other, I feel like it's because ultimately deep down we know that it's not going to be the end for our friendship just because we said something, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
And like, there are going to be times, I feel like, there'll be times I feel like shit and I don't want to do it, and you're going to have the guts to finally say, or to be like, well, this is the only time that works for me. Like, you have to do it now or we can't. And I'm going to have to fucking suck it up, and I'm going to have to fucking do it because there is no other choice. You know what I mean? But when there is another choice, obviously that is the obvious better answer.
Yeah.
But if I never want to put you out, you know what I mean? Like, I never want you to be so stressed out or try to be like, or so upset because you've had to move things around so often that like, it's upsetting you.
No, and I'm pretty open, like schedule wise, but I'd be doing stuff, and then like today I sat down and I was like, dude, I need to start writing down everything I'm doing because I like almost double booked like a hangout the other time. Like I did, and I had to like tell someone like, hey, sorry, I forgot. I'm doing this, and and then I feel bad, and I'm like, because I totally forgot I had this other thing going. So like sat down and I was like writing, and that's why I messaged you like, hey, when am I doing your hair? Let me pencil you in so I don't make any other plans. Yeah,
it's all a balance, and I think that's why it's important to not do these things, but to choose, I don't know, for me anyway, to choose the right people to be open with.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? But wow, thank you. I also want to express my gratitude for you as well, obviously. I haven't done so on this podcast numerous times. Because like I said, you do so much for this podcast. You are the reason it exists ultimately, and like why every episode gets put out on time every week, and has been edited every week, and there's sound every week, and like you know what I mean, and like for the most part every mishap, reschedule, whatever, is because you were so accommodating to it.
And I'm so easygoing, and it's like almost never an issue. I don't even remember what. I think I was having a day where it was like so many things were already like awry.
Yeah.
And then I was like, another one.
Yeah.
Another one.
Another one.
My Shayla.
My Shayla.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I mean, we're going to do a short episode and we're already at full capacity, so.
Okay, real quick before we go, I kind of wanted to talk about the tariffs.
No. I was just letting you know that like
we ended up doing
it
a
worked.
Full one.
Yeah. No,
I feel like that's typical. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, just make it short, and then it's a full episode every time,
which is awesome because we used to have the opposite issue.
Yeah, go back to episode 1. It's 30 minutes.
We're gonna make short episodes, and now we're like, we were pretty good. We range about an hour.
Yeah. Well, I also, that was also my idea too at the beginning, to only make them short, because I thought our listeners at the time, no offense listeners, had the capacity to only really listen for 30 minutes. But then I realized 30 minutes wasn't enough.
And then I think that was also like the fear of people not wanting to listen because they were so long anyways. Yeah. But okay.
Oh yeah, so the tariffs.
Tell me about your tariffs.
Not mine.
I know.
Our President Trump's tariffs. He's imposed, I think it's like 20% on things from Canada.
25.
Or no, 25 from Mexico and 10 from Canada or something like that. But if you guys don't know, like, tariffs are like the cost of importing things from other places. And the thing is, the Trump's whole presidency had been built on lowering our taxes and lowering gas prices, lowering our grocery prices, and he was going to do that all with the tariffs. And then people were failing to realize that that's not necessarily how that works.
Yes. So it is 25% from Canada and Mexico and a 10% additional tariff on imports from China.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes.
What I wanted to talk about, though, was Canada and Mexico's response to it.
Yes, yeah.
Because obviously that's not being, I guess, friendly with them, really. That's kind of like...
Yeah, like screwing them over.
Yeah, and also screwing us over, because now our groceries and our oil and our gas is going to be expensive. Because a lot of ours comes from Canada. And so that's really crazy. That's going to be really expensive, because they're going to have to charge us more for them so that they could be able to bring us to our products. So, and the stuff he was saying, I don't know. Everyone go watch Your President, I guess. But the Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, who has his own issues or whatever, has said the actions taken today by the White House split us apart instead of bringing us together. He channeled the betrayal that many Canadians are feeling, reminding Americans that Canadian troops fought alongside them in Afghanistan and helped respond to myriad crises from wildfires in California to Hurricane Katrina. Quote, "We were always there, standing with you, grieving with you, the American people," he said. And then Mexico's president also ordered retaliatory tariffs. So they're both imposing tariffs to basically say, fuck you then. You're going to have to pay more too.
Yeah.
And I think in Canada, they're taking out U.S. imported alcohol from all stores. Jeez, they're trying to stop that. So that's going to be a huge dip and stuff. Mexico said, "We categorically reject the White House's slander that the Mexican government has alliances with the criminal organizations, as well as any intention of meddling in our territory." That's the president, Claudia Sheinbaum.
Yeah.
She wrote on Twitter, and she's had instructed her economy secretary to implement a response that includes retaliatory tariffs and other measures in defense of Mexico's interests. Quote, "If the United States government and its agencies wanted to address the serious fentanyl consumption in their country, they could fight the sale on drugs on the streets of their major cities, which they don't do, and the laundering of money that this illegal activity generates that has done so much harm to its population." Mm-hmm. So that's just where we're at right now. I just want to give people a reminder that he is also failing on the things he said he was going to be doing immediately.
And what's crazy is it's like been like 2 weeks. Crazy.
And you know what? So real quick, want to touch on last week's episode where, you know, we kind of went into some super
Heavy
political,
topics.
heavy topics.
Yes.
I was talking to my partner about it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he brought up a good point. I just want to remind people that when it came to Hitler and the regime and the Nazi party, that shit did not happen in a day.
Yeah.
You know, he was leading people for a little while before he started doing all the campments and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind as the future comes forward. I don't want to say to like not be hopeful. Obviously, we try to preach on this podcast that like it's important to keep hope because that's the only thing that keeps people going and keeps, you know, people fighting. But I also just want people to be aware of what's going on still, because it's all still, like you said, very fresh, and we have all these issues still.
Well, and now he just like reminds me of like an abusive partner,
right?
He's like exiling us from all our friends and family.
Literally,
he's cutting us off from everyone. He's trying to hold us hostage.
Yes, he's crazy. He's trying to, Jesus Christ, he gaslights us about everything. Literally. It's crazy because like he even said like, well, I guess this is gonna cost people money, and he doesn't care.
He's like I know I said these things, but like we're trying to figure out how to do them,
but
right?
I won already. Yeah, exactly. You know what I always get hung up on is like right before all this, like right before he won and whatever, his wife was like not on his side.
With him.
And like not maybe not on his side, but maybe not aligned with him. She was definitely like pro autonomy and stuff like that. So I wonder what happens with that, like behind closed doors.
Well, and it's like, I guess like speaking about like relationships, like maybe it boils down to she loves him so much
that she just is okay with it,
you know.
And that's crazy because like to me, like, no, I don't know. It's hard to imagine. I guess I just have such strong beliefs.
Yeah, maybe she didn't know he was terrible till now.
There's no
till recently. As of recent, she's like, what happened?
And she's an immigrant.
She said, what, Donald? Why?
And isn't his parents immigrants?
Dude.
And Elon Musk is an illegal immigrant.
Mm.
I hate that term.
Alien.
Should have talked about this before all the gratefulness.
We went here. All right, let's throw in some extra gratefulness. Grateful to be alive and grateful that like when the gust was gusting, I was like, it's crazy to think that like our little houses and buildings like don't be falling down. Like those ones were crazy, and I was like, holy
not
moly.
By the hair on our chinny chin.
I was like, I don't have a brick house, but am I gonna be up in the air? Like,
that's
you
so
never
funny.
know. It's crazy to think. I'm like, okay, well, I'm sturdy enough to handle whatever. And I was like, I should do some investigating.
You're like blowing on your house.
Get like a movie fan. Turn it on. But yeah, grateful for my house, grateful for my car,
grateful for the animals in our lives, always bringing smiles to our faces,
grateful for the friends and family,
grateful for understanding friends and family, grateful for therapy. Oh,
did the groundhog see his shadow?
Oh my god. Okay, so at work today somebody said, isn't it Groundhog's Day? And I was like, is it Groundhog's Day? And they were like, I don't know. I was like, I guess it happens in February. I just don't know when. Yeah. And then I was like, I was like, do you know what it's for? And they were like, no. And I was like, oh, well, like if he sees his shadow, then we have more winter or we have more spring?
A longer winter.
And then if he doesn't see his shadow, then it's spring. Right?
Yeah, I think so. Like an earlier spring.
Yeah. And I said, but it's always the same little guy. They keep going to the same hole and they keep asking the same little guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, until he dies, I guess.
Phil.
Yeah. How long did they live?
Okay, so me and my mom were talking about it last night. We were on FaceTime, and like I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be Groundhog's Day," because I was like scrolling while we were on FaceTime, and then I was like trying to pronounce like the first like part of it. It's like Pun X Satowini Phil, and I was like,
Oh.
"Is that his first name? Is that the?" I was like, "Whatever." And then I'm like reading this article, and it's like tradition since whatever, and I was like, "Is it the same guy?"
Well,
She's
it
like, "I
can't
don't
be the
think."
same one.
And then she's like, "They don't live that long, do they?" And I said, "I don't know."
Is it
So
the same-
when I googled it, it was like 14 years, so not the same guy.
Oh, okay. Imagine if it was the same old groundhog.
What if he just reincarnated? But this is the first time.
Is it his kids?
I don't know, but this is the first time he has a son.
Oh, it's
He
his
just had a baby.
son.
Yeah.
He's like holding him in his arms. He's like looking at his shadow.
He's like, "Son, check this out."
He holds him up. Sundial.
It says Marion's famous groundhog, Buckeye Chuck. Oh, so I don't know what the heck I was reading. but
Buckeye Chuck.
has
So
predicted
cute.
an early spring.
Yay!
Chuck saw cloudy skies and did not see his shadow early Sunday, meaning that we may have an early spring, at least according to a centuries-old annual tradition in the U.S.
That's what I told the guy who was asking me about it. I was like, I mean, that's what they say, but they don't mean it's the truth. I was like,
it's just a
an
prediction.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, because it might be true. It might happen that way. I was
Yeah.
like, but you know,
I wonder if
global
there's like
warming.
if there's like a record of the success rate of like
Of
his
how many they got
predictions.
right.
Yeah,
I wonder too. And I wonder if one groundhog has been more right than the other
Yeah.
ones.
true.
He's
Is
like
it
a
always the guy
legend.
groundhog.
It's a good question. I have a lot of questions about these
Me
groundhogs
too.
now. Who's vetting them? How do I know
Is
he's
it-
not a fucking plant? Huh? How do I know he's not a plant from the
industry
government?
plant?
They're talking about conspiracy theories. This is the conspiracy theory.
In most recent conspiracies.
The fucking groundhog.
Yeah, I wonder
Um,
if it's like a bloodline. If it's all like his, like you said, like his
his like
sons.
ancestors.
It's the holy bloodline of groundhogs.
They're the only ones they trust to tell us.
Yeah.
Where does it happen?
That is a good
Like New York?
question.
I don't know in New York,
Ohio.
Oh, duh. What's his name? Chuck the Buckeye or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ohio
Buckeye Chuck.
Ohio Buckeyes.
But then, see right there, it says his
A
name
Buckeye's
again.
a typo.
Hun
I
X
think.
Sutawini Phil.
Let me see.
Look,
Sutuini.
I can't say it. I kept trying to read it to my mom last night, and I was like, I don't know how to say it. And then it says Phil
Wait, where does it say? Oh,
at the bottom. I'm like, is that a few words jumbled together? Is that his first name?
Ponzatuni. I don't know how you say that. I feel like the X is probably silent.
It's a silent.
Can you Google how to like say it?
Maybe.
So who said it? Was it Buckeye Chuck or Pentatonic Phil?
I think
or
they're the
whatever?
same guy.
Pentatonics.
I think it's the same person. I don't. The same
person?
groundhog.
It's a guy in a suit. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, everyone go look at your local groundhogs and see what they're saying. Let's see if we can get a consensus going, if they're all in agreement, early spring or not. And in the meantime, have a great day, evening, and night. Bye.
Bye.